Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Ronnie gets a surprising invitation, and spoiler, senses something is off when James and Nathan meet. All products and services featured are independently chosen by editors. However, Soaps.com may receive a commission on orders placed through its retail links, and the retailer may receive certain auditable data for accounting purposes. At her place, Alexis talks to her assistant, Suzanne, on the phone about what's on her docket tomorrow, which includes the reading of Monica's will. Rick lurks in the background, and when Alexis gets off the phone and lounges back on the couch, he puts Helena's dagger to her throat. Alexis tells him that he's won and asks what Rick wants. He orders her to call the cops and confess to everything she's done. She reminds him that if she calls the cops, then he'll go down with the rest of them. Alexis walks away from Rick and ends up pinned against the fireplace as Rick holds the dagger to her. Alexis warns him that Molly won't be happy if he kills her mother. Rick knows she's right, and she has a better idea. Rick tells Alexis to call Liz and put it on speaker. Why is Britt acting so odd? At the hospital, Nathan reads an article about his death from years ago. In the hall, Britt stops her mother from taking James in to see his father and asks the boy to let her speak to the grown-ups for a minute. She sends him to get a soda from the vending machine and then tells them that James cannot see his father. Britt explains that they may be jumping the gun with this reunion and asks if they think Maxie would be okay with rushing into this. She suggests it won't hurt the boy to wait one more day, and maybe they should discuss with a child therapist on how to best introduce the boy to his dad. They all agree, though Albrecht mainly goes along with the others. Meanwhile, James heads to his dad's room, and Nathan says, "Hello, you must be James." James heads in with 2 sodas and shares one with his dad. They pop them open. Meanwhile, the adults all wonder where James is and find him hanging out with his dad. Britt is clearly unsettled by this. Felicia, Albrecht, and Spinelli go inside, and Spinelli walks out clearly upset over how well the boy is getting along with his dad. Felicia follows him out, and Spinelli admits they shouldn't have brought James here. Sunny looks at the photo of Monica on the memory wall when Ronnie appears. She introduces herself as Monica's sister. He had no idea she had a sister, and Ronnie gives him a brief rundown of their estrangement. Sunny introduces himself and says that he's Michael's adoptive father. Ronnie relays that Monica always gushed about Michael and his kids. Ronnie was hoping to meet Michael at the estate, but someone stopped her. Sunny tells her not to let Tracy bully her. Ronnie assures him that she won't be scared off by Tracy. She asks what he thinks of Tracy, and Sunny calls her an entitled snob. She thanks him, as that is the same word Monica used, and she feels the same. Liz gives Molly some papers she needs for a legal matter and asks if she's heard from her dad. Molly hasn't, which she assumes is the point of a digital retreat. Liz just thought that, given her dad's penchant for bending the rules, they'd have heard from him. Just then, Liz gets a call from Alexis. Liz hears a blood-curdling scream when she answers. Then the calls go dead. Liz receives a text from Alexis claiming she accidentally called her. Oddly, Liz swears she heard Molly's dad's voice in the background. At Alexis, Ava appears and throws a liquid in Rick's face. He goes down screaming, and then Ava clobbers him with a breadboard, knocking him out. The women get Rick back to the basement and tie him back up. Ava finds that Rick's been stashing his pills under his mattress and says Rick won't get away again and handcuffs him to the gurney. When the lawyer wakes up, he screams, "No, no, no!" Did Michael shoot Drew? In the crypt, Michael finds Tracy still there. She fumes about the mess Monica left her, including saving him from going down for possibly shooting Drew. Michael insists he has an alibi, but Tracy says he has a call girl who has a history with the victim. Tracy knows he was at Drew's that night, and Michael admits he did go there to confront him, but changed his mind as that's what Drew would have wanted. He swears he didn't go into the house. Tracy can't tell if he's lying, proving he's a true Quartermain. Michael tells Tracy that if she thinks he's lying, she should go to the cops. Tracy doesn't care if he shot Drew. She only cares that he stays a free man. He points out that if he goes to prison, all his shares will fall to Ned, and he could be in charge of ELQ, as she has always wanted for her son. She says he doesn't know her as well as he thinks, as it's her duty to Monica to make sure he stays out of jail. What does Anna want from Carly? Carly arrives at Anna's office for some follow-up questions about the night Drew was shot, and specifically what she spoke to Michael about when they talked on the phone. Carly recalls telling Michael not to give in to Drew's threats about the judge and the blackmail, and that Willow caved and went back to him. She simply tells Anna they were talking about his day. Carly doesn't understand why they are doing this now, given that Monica just died. Anna explains she's questioning her, not Michael, out of respect for Michael's loss. Carly claims she's sad Monica died too, and that over the past few years they called a sort of truce for Michael, Jason, and the kid's sake. Anna asks if that means she was welcomed at the Quartermain estate. Carly says her grandchildren live on the property and she can see them anytime she wants. Anna thanks Carly for her time. Carly tells Anna that Michael didn't shoot Drew, as he doesn't have it in him. Anna says Claudia Zachara would disagree. Carly argues that Michael was protecting her and Joss. Anna knows Carly would also do anything to protect Michael. Welcome to Bobby's. Sonny takes Ronnie to Bobby's for a meal, and she thanks him for being so kind and welcoming. Sonny asks when she and Monica stopped talking. Ronnie reveals it was a long time ago, and they only got in touch again recently. Monica wrote her, which was the surprise of her life. Now she's gone, and she regrets the time she didn't have. Ronnie reveals that she was working up the nerve to ask to meet Monica, but ran out of time. Sonny says that according to Michael, Monica was happy in the end and went peacefully. Ronnie thanks him for that, as knowing that helps. Is Carly in trouble? Later, Carly meets with Sonny at Bobby's to tell him it's clear Anna is focusing on Michael as the main suspect in Drew's shooting, and she fears she might have given her information. She just doesn't know what. Elsewhere, Molly meets with Anna in her office and learns Edward's gun was used to shoot Drew, and Carly and Michael both had access to it. Molly tells her about meeting Jacinda this morning, and admits it felt like Michael arranged it to shore up his alibi. In the show's final moments, at the hospital, Liz calls and leaves Rick a message. She asks if he is back in town. In Alexa's basement, the lawyer and Ava tell Rick that he only has to wait 10 more days, and the women shove pills in his mouth and ensure he swallows them this time. They then put the ball gag back in his mouth and high-five over Port Charles carried an unease that no one could quite name yet, the kind that whispers trouble before it ever arrives. For Detective Ronnie Dimestico, the morning started like any other. Black coffee, unopened case files, and a vague sense that something was about to change. But by afternoon, the universe handed him something unexpected. An invitation that would send shockwaves through several corners of the city. Ronnie's surprising invitation. It arrived in a heavy cream-colored envelope, embossed with gold lettering. No sender. No return address. Inside, a simple card read, "You are cordially invited to the reopening of Windmere. Midnight. Don't be late." The signature was a flourish, elegant, but anonymous. Ronnie frowned, turning the card over several times. He hadn't set foot near Spoon Island in years, not since a certain case had gone sideways involving Nicholas Cassadine's estate and a very dead body that wasn't supposed to be there. Now, the Cassadines were stirring again, or at least, someone wanted it to look that way. He hesitated. Going could mean walking into a setup, but ignoring it might mean missing something major. His gut twisted, a feeling that never lied to him, and he decided he couldn't stay away. Meanwhile, in Port Charles. Across town, Britt Westbourne sipped an espresso at the Metro Court Bar, her nerves on edge. James Westbourne, her teenage son, had been asking questions again. Questions about his father. About Nathan. About why his mother still looked haunted whenever she saw old photos of her brother. But that day, Britt's mind was on something else. Nathan himself, alive, though barely past the traumas that had reshaped him, had agreed to meet James for the first time. The meeting had been Monica's idea, surprisingly. Family heals through truth, she told Britt. But as much as Britt wanted to believe that, she couldn't shake a deep dread. James idolized Nathan. He'd heard stories of bravery, loyalty, and sacrifice. He didn't know the darker shades of the tale, the Cassadine manipulation, the lies that twisted their bloodline into something unrecognizable. And now, as the meeting drew closer, Britt couldn't shake the sense that the past was about to bleed straight into their future. Nathan and James meet. The Metro Court rooftop glimmered with string lights and autumn leaves drifting like confetti. Britt watched from a distance as Nathan arrived, looking tense, his dark blue jacket crisp, his eyes scanning the crowd for familiar faces. Then came James. Tall for his age, wearing a nervous grin, he carried the same light in his eyes that Nathan used to have before life hardened him. When their eyes met, time seemed to pause. "Nathan West," James said softly, offering a handshake that trembled slightly. "It's really you." Nathan smiled faintly. "And you must be James. You've got your mom's eyes. But that stubborn jaw. Definitely a Westbourne thing." Britt exhaled slowly, relief washing over her. For a fleeting moment, it looked like things might actually go smoothly. The two began to talk, about music, about James' dream of becoming a paramedic, about Nathan's years lost to brainwashing and recovery. But then, something shifted. Spoiler. Notices the change. From the terrace's far edge, Dante Falconeri watched. He hadn't been invited to this family moment, but he had his reasons for being there, unofficial of course. Nathan's sudden reappearance after years of presumed death didn't sit right with him. Too many inconsistencies in his story. Too many Cassadine-shaped holes in the truth. And as Dante studied the way Nathan interacted with James, his instinct screamed something is off. It wasn't just the small talk. It was the micro-expressions, Nathan hesitating before answering personal questions, the faint glint of confusion when James mentioned things from Britt's past that Nathan should have known. Then there was the way Nathan's hand subtly twitched when James said, "Mom told me Uncle Ronnie used to be your partner. You ever see him anymore?" Nathan's eyes darkened, his jaw tightening. "No. Ronnie went his own way." His tone was clipped, almost mechanical. Dante's chest tightened. He knew that tone. He'd heard it before, from men who weren't who they claimed to be. He slipped his phone from his pocket, quietly sending a message. "Keep eyes on Nathan West. Something's wrong." Ronnie's night at Windmere. Hours later, as the city dimmed and fog rolled over Spoon Island, Ronnie arrived at Windmere. The castle loomed like a dark silhouette against the water, its windows glowing faintly with candlelight. The doors creaked open on their own, and a faint melody drifted from the grand ballroom, an old waltz he couldn't quite place. He entered cautiously. The place looked recently restored, chandeliers polished, portraits straightened, not a speck of dust in sight. But it was empty. Or so he thought. A woman's voice echoed from the shadows. "You came. Good. That means you're ready to know the truth." He turned, and froze. Out of the darkness stepped Claudette Beaulieu. Ronnie's mind reeled. Claudette, presumed dead, vanished from Port Charles years ago, looked very much alive. Her smile was calm, but her eyes glittered with danger. "Claudette," he said slowly, hand inching toward his weapon. "You shouldn't be here." "Oh, detective," she purred. "Neither should you. But you are, because you know something's wrong with Nathan. Don't you?" His grip tightened. "What are you talking about?" Claudette took a step closer, lowering her voice. "That man walking around as Nathan West? He's not your old partner. He's not even human in the way you remember. He's a reconstruction. Faison's final project." Ronnie's blood ran cold.